research, are going to be living to 90 or 95. Where are these people going to live? So there is nobody better or more capable of letting us know about what's happening in the national real estate market. And we're going to talk about that. I mean, especially here in Florida, in the retirement community, retirement state or retirement capital of the country, where the average age is about, 112. What do you think, Johnny? About that. So we're going to be going live in about 30 seconds to a minute. And thank Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is December. I can't believe it, but it is December 2019. We are here at the WeBeam TV studios in beautiful Newport Richey, Florida, although it is supposed to go down to 40-something degrees today.
It's definitely cold.
That's just cold. I don't care who you are. It's cold.
That's cold.
But anyway, it's going to be a great show tonight. We're going to have, for the second time or third? Second time, Mr. Johnny Lowey, a very, very well-known national real estate expert, rated by the Wall Street Journal, top 50 realtors in the country. Approximately 2 years ago, a little less, started a national franchise known as Align Right Realty. We're going to talk at the end of the show about that incredible project that you're working on and growing throughout the country. But really and truly, what brought you here today was the fact that for the last 2 weeks, we had some incredible long-term insurance experts on the show. And I mean, these were icons, they're national icons.
Nice.
And I always learn from them, but one of them said, I think it was Mark Goldberg, it was either Mark or Bill Comfort. One of them said, there are more people in this country today, 62 years old and above, that there have been people 62-year-old and above in the history of the country because of longer lifespans. Wow. And there is no doubt there is going to be a shortage of senior housing. And that's why I thought let's bring in a national real estate expert, because that could be that really could be a serious problem, especially here in the here in Florida, the retirement capital of the country, maybe of the world. I was just saying
to Johnny, probably of the world.
Of the world, probably. I mean, the average age of
or at least the United States.
Yeah, it has. Well, definitely the United States. California has more per capita, but we're the largest, for our populations.
It's funny you talk about these numbers on more folks over the age of 65. I just saw on CNN that they're saying that for population for children being born today, the numbers are drastically down.
Yes.
So thank goodness that we're living longer so we can compensate for the less births that are taking place.
I wonder why they are down. No fooling around intended. I wonder why they are down.
No pun intended.
No pun intended at all. But I wonder if that has a lot to do. I mean, I don't want to get into this topic too much.
It's pretty expensive to raise a family.
It's pretty expensive. We just came through the greatest recession, 2008 through 2013, that we've seen since 1929, and there is a lot of depressed people out there that still haven't made that comeback. And when you're depressed, sometimes you don't want to make whoopee. So maybe that's it. All right. So before we get to discuss this, though,
where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there? Yes. Before we discuss this, though, as always, I want to thank last week's guest, Mr. Mark Goldberg, Mr. Bill Comfort, and once again, for the last 2 weeks, we were above...
Mark Goldberg?
The Mark Goldberg.
The Mark Goldberg.
There's a lot of Mark Goldbergs out there, but not like this one. Not like the one that comes here.
That's awesome.
And once again, we were above 82,000 people the last 2 weeks for each week for viewers, so we thank you. But I always want to welcome our new viewers and give you just a quick 60, 90-second premise of what is 62 Who Knew? Why are we here? What's the purpose of the show? Well, as you approach 62, I don't care who you are, other than maybe the top 1% of the country that is so wealthy. The other 99% of us, even the upper middle class, but pretty much as you go to 62, we actually, that camera? Okay. Yeah, I know. There's 3 cameras. I had a 1 out of 3 choice. I picked the wrong one. It's not like I'm well paid for this. I'm making this up on the fly. But really and truly, I say this all the time, it is the premise of the show, and we've actually built, obviously, in about 60 weeks from no viewers to 80,000 plus viewers per week, so it's a well-accepted premise. But whether it was you or I'm more than 10 years older than Johnny, but your father, my father, their fathers, as they approach that age of 62, everyone in this country, basically for the last 100 years, 50 years at least, has the same question. Should I retire?
Yep.
Have I got enough money to retire? Should I take Social Security now or possibly defer it to a later age?
Yep.
Do I still need my life insurance? Is it too late to get more life insurance? I've heard about long-term care insurance. Should I have it? Should I not?
Should I change the balcony off the master bedroom so the wife doesn't fall off the balcony, or should I wait?
Just a quick push, maybe. That depends, yeah.
Just-
But there's just so many of those questions. Should I be in annuities? Should I be in income annuities? Should I be stock, this, that? We all have had the same questions. Every generation.
Even folks who aren't. I mean, I'm turning 50 in a few
in
months.
March, right?
Yep, and
Big
even
party.
for myself.
You're all invited.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going on a cruise. So
80,000 of it. The Align Right cruise.
So, even at age 50, we all start to think, wow, did I set myself up? Am I going to be able to retire? And am I doing the things that I need to be doing to set myself up so that I don't have to work my ass off for the rest of my
That's the
life?
truth.
I mean, you want to be able to take some time. And, when you're younger, you don't really think about it. For me, it just started to happen over the last few years of my life, getting close to the 50 mark. I'm like, I got to start planning and making sure I'm ready.
Yeah, I know, and I'm 61, and I'm not ready. I actually do have enough money to live the rest of my life, as long as I die by next Thursday. So it's I'm very, very well set. I've been planning with my financial planner for a long time. But all of us have the same questions. But my generation, which is one ahead of you, we're not in the same generation with me being 11 years older than you.
No, you're
Close.
61, I'm
Yeah.
49.
Yeah,
I'll be
so
50.
close.
I'll be 50 before you're 62.
Yeah, that's true. But my generation the baby boomers, has a different problem than any generation before it, and that is longer lifespans.
Right.
When my parents planned
I want that problem.
Yeah, that's a great...
I want that problem.
But it's a double-edged sword. It truly is.
It's true.
I mean, it's great to live to be 90, but if you're going to retire in your early to mid-60s and have 25 to 30 years of your life left, how many people can really do that and live high quality? Well, the real answer is about 1% of this country. All of us, whether we own real estate companies or mortgage companies, or we go to work every day to make a living, whatever we do, we got to worry about it. It is a double-edged sword, and that's the premise of 62 Who Knew. Every week we either have a real estate expert, a long-term care insurance expert, a Social Security expert, health, diet, vacation. We really have grown a lot in the last 60 weeks. And surprisingly...
but there is some downfall, too.
Oh, yeah, there's big
Because
downfall.
if you ask some of the couples out there, how many of you guys are retired and your spouse is driving you crazy since they retired?
Yes.
Maybe us helping them to become financially stable, maybe we're breaking up marriages, Michael.
Well,
maybe we're breaking up marriages.
Or maybe we're saving marriages. We had an author on, and forgive me, the memory isn't what it used to be. We had an author on that wrote a book about the psychology of retirement, and there is a higher percentage of seniors getting divorced than in the history of the country, and a lot of that does have to do with suddenly dad's home.
That's true.
5 days a week, and I'm a really good person, but I'm not that easy to take 5 days a week.
Go to any home in New York where there's retirees. I'm telling you, you are going to hear a woman in that household going, "Oh my God, he's driving me crazy. I wish he would go back to work."
Yeah, it's the truth too. But we're saving marriages here on 62.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Let's get them their real estate license. Sell real estate part-time. Stay the heck out of the house and stop driving your wife crazy.
Do you know if we could get like 20 million people licensed and they only sold one house a year, we could be doing this show from a yacht.
There we go.
One of our yachts. One of our.
I get seasick. I don't know if I can do that. Just a little bit.
All right, well, I thought you said you want to go on a cruise for your 50th birthday.
I do, but you're drinking when you're on the cruise. So when the boat tips, you just go, it's probably the alcohol.
That's good to know.
You don't, no, I'm just
Boats don't tip, yes.
I do.
And neither do Canadians. That's really funny.
I get that motion-y stuff. You put it behind your ear, and it works.
No, it does
It
work.
works.
All right, so this is a serious problem. We're going to be serious now. It's hard for me and him to be serious because we spend a lot of time speaking with each other. But when one of the long-term care experts said last week, it really did give me the chills that there are more people 62 years old in this country right now than there have ever been 62-year-olds and above in the history of this country.
That's awesome.
And there is a shortage of senior housing.
I agree.
You know, and I know you're not tapped in. Well, I mean, you're building a national franchise.
Sure.
You know, so you're not tapped into that exact problem. But what do you see of that? I mean, I know you talk to David Cribbs a lot.
Sure.
You do his, you know, show. Is there a lot of that coming? I mean, are builders and realtors thinking about that?
You know, it's funny because a lot more builders out there are starting to get more on board with senior living, and quite for good reasons. I mean, number one, there's supply and demand. Of course, that's a position they all want to be in. But in addition to that, the federal government is giving some tax benefits to these builders going in and building senior housing. So it's a great opportunity for the builder to receive some tax breaks and to really hit into a market. I find, though, that they're getting to be more in specific markets. And a lot of builders are a little hesitant to be the first one to start it in that area. But you still see it. I mean, but it's definitely an issue. And I think today, I mean, folks, let me ask, I mean, are you guys, I assume you want active adult lifestyle. I mean, you know, and it's getting better. You know, when you go into, I don't know if you've been to Kings Point down in Sun City Center.
Not for a while.
And then if you've been over to Lady Lake, Village is a Lady Lake. I mean, it's a drastic difference on what you're going to find. My dad asked me, he said, well, he said, John, what would you say is the difference between these two communities? And I said, well, one, I think you live there and you're waiting to die. I said, in the other community, I think you're just starting to live. I said, that other community, I said, Pop, there's so much going on. Plus, the old man's single now, so I'm trying to, you know.
Get him out there.
Yeah, I want to get him out.
Hey, life's not over.
You know, he's
Your
single.
dad's young.
He dances, right? He cooks. He's pretty much on the, he's got it going on for
He's got a
old
rich
guy.
son.
He's got a cute son.
He's got a cute, rich son.
So, but no, it's definitely an issue. I think, you know, for folks who are looking to be in an active community, I think, number one, you've got to start your search and see what's available in that senior living community. Then you really got to focus on your lifestyle. The house is just a small piece of it. And believe it or not, the house, you're going to spend time there when you sleep and when you wake up and before you go to bed. If you get the right community, the goal is that you're out, you're having fun. Let me tell you, sir, the only reason you're driving your wife crazy is because you're not taking her out. She wants to go out. She wants to have a little bit of fun, right? So, and let me tell you, if you think the next one's going to be any different, who's not going to want to go out and have fun, she's lying. She's lying. Okay? So find the community, find the lifestyle that you're looking for, and listen, I know you want to be in certain parts of the world, certain parts of Florida per se, but be open to looking at other areas. Not everyone is building senior living, and if you can find something that has senior living and they maybe has a subsection of assisted living, and that's another piece. Now, assisted living facilities are actually starting to become more and more popular, but they're becoming more and more popular, Michael, on the private sector. So I work with investors who will say, hey, I want to get into this realm, into real estate. And I said, well, what do you got in mind? They say, I want to be a part of the assisted living. We contact a proper nursing facility that holds the right certifications and the right licenses. And then we purchase a resident, and we turn it into an assisted living facility, many times 2 beds per room, depending on the size of the rooms. And it's a great opportunity if someone wants to get out of that community feel environment, but really wants more of a private home. Me personally, I guess different strokes for different folks. I want to see my old man in a fun community where he's getting the heck out of the house. I mean, he's always in the house. He's like, oh, I did my walking today.
And that's not good for his lifespan. He needs to get out and keep the mind active.
And he's 85. He's healthy. He you know, he's crotchety.
He's
crotchety.
I'm crotchety and I'm 61.
Okay, you are crotchety.
I am.
No, you're not crotchety. So I think just get out there and look. Go on to home builder sites. Go on to Google, okay, and Google senior housing, okay, assisted living. Assisted living's probably, you know, that next juncture. You know, that's what we're hoping not to get to anytime soon. But look at the community. Look at the amenities. I'll tell you, you know where we're so close to, which is a beautiful community, Lakewood Ranch.
Where Lisa Kennedy is.
Yeah, Lakewood Ranch. What a beautiful community. I heard it was ranked as one of the top 10 communities.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah,
Oh, I mean,
we're opening an office there. Heck yeah, I've been there.
It's beautiful. I mean, you drive into
beautiful
this and you don't
community.
believe this is a senior community.
No, it's incredible. And I mean, every pond comes stocked with gators. It's awesome.
That's right, yeah.
You know, no barking dog issues. Forget about the small children playing. Just kidding. Anyway.
Well, you know, I think that's part of the problem for the builders and developers, although there's places like that that have overcome it in Sarasota. But, you know, when you're talking retirement, what are we talking really? Florida,
Right.
the Carolinas,
Carolinas
without
are
a doubt.
big.
I would still think Arizona, even though it's hot as hell.
Arizona pulls a pretty big retirement community.
California.
Tennessee. Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of
Tennessee's
folks
beautiful.
are going
Not
out
my
Midwest.
thing, but beautiful.
I got to tell you, I love Tennessee. It's a
Yeah,
great
I
state.
love visiting there. I don't know if I could live there.
Chattanooga.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
All the way.
How about, obviously, California. But there's certain areas
California, I see from statistically, it looks that many people are migrating and leaving California to go to Florida because when you look at the state income tax savings from no state income tax for Florida versus California, that's essentially like them being able to, you know, I tell folks who live in California, I go, listen, if you come to Florida, I said, instead of giving the government your hard-earned money, I said, why don't you put it towards your house? At least you get to reap the benefit of staying and living in that house. And I'll tell you, you got a market to... Did you know this guy's helping my old man, right? My pops owns his house, and he doesn't own it outright. He's got a small mortgage on it. And Michael is putting him into an FHA program. My dad said, this is what my dad's biggest problem with you doing the FHA reverse mortgage for him. He goes... Well, I don't spend any money. What am I supposed to do with all that extra money? What am I going to do? I'm going to just put it in the bank and I'm going to give it to the kids? He goes, well, I don't understand.
Your dad talks like Joe Pesci. That's really amazing.
He totally talks like Joe Pesci. I swear to you.
He's incredible.
He's a typical
You think
New
I'm
Yorker.
funny?
He's a funny how? I amuse you funny? Huh? Like a clown funny? No, I'm just kidding.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. So, you know, with that, a lot of folks, when I first talked to my dad about, you know, putting together the reverse mortgage with Michael, my dad said to me, he said, well, honest, truth be told, he said, well, what am I going to do with the money? He says, I don't need the money. I don't understand. What am I going to do with the money? He says, and I said to him, I said, Dad, he goes, and besides, he says, if I do that, he says, I got no house to leave you kids. Then I got nothing to leave you kids. We told my father, I said, Dad, I said, I want you to die with a smile on your face, grinning from ear to ear, and I want you to spend every last penny. I said, you raised your kids right. You raised your kids to be responsible. And by gosh, if you didn't raise them to be responsible, it's their own darn fault. Okay? So, but the reality is, man, live your life to get rid of that mortgage. Do you know I can't wait to be 62 so I could do a reverse mortgage.
6 to 7 months. There's no doubt I practice what I preach. So now again, you know, and I don't want this. Thank you for that, but I don't want this to be a reverse.
No. But
thank you for that.
Listen, I from the outside in, when I sat through and I went to the Realtor convention, and I sat through and they said to us, they said in the mortgage industry, this is fact, in the mortgage industry, FHA and the federal government loses more money on reverse mortgages from FHA because people are living longer and they're FHA insured loans. This is not a plug for this guy. I'm just telling you that fact remains. If you're over 62, you owe it to yourself and your family to put that money in your family's pocket, not in the mortgage company's pocket. So anyway, just food for thought.
I do appreciate that. But again, how about Colorado? I've heard that's it's rising in senior. Again, big, the high altitude. I've spoken there. I've never spent a lot of time there, but the altitude can get you. I mean, but it is beautiful. The mountains.
I don't see a lot of people migrating, younger people,
maybe, but not
migrating to Colorado for its horticulturalness that's in Colorado. But anyhow, I don't see a lot of seniors migrating. I lived there, as you know, for 8 years.
That's
very rare did I ever deal with people who came in and said, hey, I'm retiring here, I'm coming down in a year or two. it was just a rarity. But I do find that people who were in Colorado, stayed in Colorado, a lot of them didn't leave.
Right.
Except for people like me who said, I need the water.
Yeah, the mountains are beautiful. I mean, I like the water better, but the mountains are beautiful.
Try to get used to the weather out there. One day it's 70 degrees. The next morning it's snowing and 32. And by afternoon it's back up to 67.
Yeah, it's crazy weather there. I also have been reading that Las Vegas, not Las Vegas, on Hotel Row, not on Vegas Boulevard, but in the outskirts of Las Vegas, is becoming a good senior area. Prices were depressed greatly. They've come back.
You're talking. Now you're talking.
Vegas?
They're moving to Vegas. When I was out there, I was helping a couple of friends of mine start a national real estate franchise, and a lot of folks were migrating and moving out to Las Vegas. That's actually a big pull and a big draw. No state income tax in Las Vegas, but I will tell you, there's not a whole, wow, that's a deep chair for a little guy anyway. There's not a whole lot of senior development and senior communities in Las Vegas. There's a couple, but not a lot. Not, in my opinion, not as many as there should be. But your builders like D.R. Horton, KB Homes, just to name some of the few, are definitely targeting more into that senior living, especially in Florida. Arizona's a big one. Carolinas are a big one.
Believe it or not, New Jersey's high on the list. Now, I'm not making fun of New Jersey. I lived in New York my whole life, and my best friend's in New Jersey, but I can't see saving up all my money for a long time to move to Jersey.
I lived in New Jersey, I lived in New York, but here's what I can tell you about Jersey and New York. Why is it when I go to Jersey, right? When I go to Jersey, the bridges are free. When I leave Jersey, they make me pay. They're like, you want to come in? Hey, it's free to come in. You want to leave? We're making you pay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I rode at Atlantic City Racetrack and Garden State Racetrack.
I think that's incredible. I really do
20 years and 20 pounds ago.
Do you ride it all still?
No, I broke my neck and back.
I didn't know that. I knew you injured yourself.
I broke my C6, C7, L3, L4, both my collarbones. And,
oh my God! You fell off, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, a horse killed Superman. I haven't been on a horse since then.
Hey, and I wanted to get into. I wanted to do something more dangerous, so I became a realtor. Do you want to live on the edge? Become a realtor.
What was I just going to say? Well, do you know why sometimes New Yorkers have bad attitudes?
No.
The light at the end of the tunnel is New Jersey. That's right. But actually, really New Jersey people, there's people that live there their whole life. From
I like Jersey.
New York too. But it is Florida,
I like Jersey.
And you did name some
I could do without the jug handles. If you've never lived in Jersey, you don't know what I'm talking about. They have a jug handle. You can't make a left. You got to go right to go left.
Yeah.
Do you feel me on this?
No, I don't like that at all.
I don't like it either. It drives me crazy.
And also no self-service gas
And then sometimes they do let you go make a left. And then I'm like, oh, wait, this is not one of those times?
This is not those
jug handle or two jug handle? That's the question.
So do you see, though, builders, like you mentioned, really leaning more now? And again, senior has a different definition.
No, I don't think they're leaning, actually.
They're not.
No, I think you're seeing a little bit, and they're starting to do some target areas, but no, I don't think they're doing it as much as they really should be, and I think they're missing that audience. I can tell you from working the new home community, just to kind of give you a heads up on why I think this is an issue. I used to work in an area called Citrus Hills Development. It's up in Citrus County, home of the Ted Williams Museum. It's the highest point in Florida is right there in Citrus Hills. Beautiful clubhouse, beautiful rec center. It's absolutely an amazing, amazing place to live. But I'm going to share with you that what they told me, because that was their primary focus, they were actually then considering branching out and getting into the general market and building houses for the general public. And I said, well, what would cause you to do that? And they said, a lot of times folks come down and they're shopping for that retirement home as much as 2, sometimes 3 years in advance. These builders, when they open, they need to move inventory now. So part of the problem is I think that retirees take a long time to shop and a long time because here's the thing. When we retire, we're instantly thinking we're looking for the forever house, the house we're going to retire in and die in. I don't know why we think like that.
Because it's not true anymore.
It's not true. I think that from a standpoint, because people are living older, a lot older, I told my Bobs, I said, if you're not loving where he goes, well, I'm 85. What am I going to do? I said, be happy.
Yeah.
Move by the beach.
Yeah.
Look at the little pretty girls in the bikinis if that's what you want to do, right, Pops? So I think that they start their looking so far in advance because they're looking at it as a forever home. I think that when the retirement and senior community start shopping for more immediate purchases, I think that's when we're going to start seeing more builders get into it. But most builders can't open a community to hope that it's going to move and be
in the
built
next 3 to 5 years, because
in
they have
3 years. They
have
need
debt
it done
service.
now.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is a lot of the issue they're dealing with.
Yeah, I
Even
think,
though they get the tax benefits and some of the gains out of it.
But I think you might have hit the nail on the head. The economics of it hasn't caught up with the reality of it.
It's true.
Yeah, and now there's another statistic, and I'm not into statistics. I know you're not either, because most of them are made up. In fact, 86.3% of statistics are made up. But now they're saying that close to 40 to 45%, and this was a real survey, of seniors are going to move twice during retirement. Where my grandparents moved to Florida from New York, because that was a law in the 1970s. If you're a Jew in New York, you had to move to Florida.
It's the same thing if you're Italian.
Yeah,
the only thing, you got to go to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, they went.
You got to go to Lauderdale if you're Italian in New York.
They went to West Palm Beach, this beautiful condo thing. I still remember it. I said I still remember it. Now I don't remember it.
You know,
Crest Haven. It's in West Palm Beach. If there's people watching from Crest Haven, I've played shuffleboard there, I've swam there, and bocce ball, the original bowling on the grass.
I like the bocce ball.
But they did move there. I hate to say this, to die, to enjoy the life. Now seniors don't move. I don't even know if 60-year-old people want to be known as seniors anymore. I really don't. They're not moving anywhere to die.
60's the new 40, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That is exactly right.
So, ladies, if you're over 62 and single, mydominican.com. Okay, mydominican.com. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. Your wife would kill you.
She would kill me. I want her to be happy. If I die, she should go to
somewhere.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She'll figure out what the website is at that time.
She will figure it out.
I'm not going to help.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it too easy.
You're going to be in the box, and she's going to be...
I want to be in a wall.
In a wall?
In a wall.
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah, I want to be in a wall. I don't want to go in the ground.
All seriousness, I want to be cremated. I'm being serious now.
Really?
I've always wanted to be cremated.
That's so eerie to me.
Really?
Yeah. What happens if partway through God goes, oops, made a mistake?
I hope he realizes that before they hit the high on the burner.
I want to be in the wall. I just want to knock. Hey, somebody's
maybe an escape button.
I just want to knock on the wall.
Nobody's going to hear. What is it, Tony Orlando 3 times on the set? No, you're going to need the escape button.
Okay.
And then it explodes out.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. I think we went off topic there for a second. Yeah, charge cell. How long do you want it to be charged for?
Give me 2.
Yeah,
give me backup battery.
Backup battery. I knew that was
a flashlight.
All right. So, any states did we leave out? Because although of our 80,000 viewers, I'd probably say, what do you think, John? About 75% of Florida? Well, John has the exact number, 68%. That's why he gets the big bucks.
Nice.
So we are spreading throughout the country. But if, in fact, and I'm not being self-serving because you, in fact, own a growing national franchise, but using a professional realtor, is part of what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, don't go into the want ads, and start looking around. Call a realtor that has expertise in Sarasota, in Bradenton, in Arizona.
And that's the other side. Folks, when you're going online and you're finding communities that you potentially are looking at for your new life, right? Because that's really what it's all about, right? It's incredible. If you contact the communities direct, you got to understand that person in that community wants to sell you a property, and they're going to tell you everything that's great about that property and about that community and the homes and everything within. But the agent's going to give you the insider secret and potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars on making the wrong decision. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you, if you do buy the wrong property and you end up not doing your due diligence, right, here's the problem. You're going to have to sit in that property for almost 2 years before you can get out of it. It's like buying a car and then realizing you hate the car, and then you go to trade and they go, well, we have this little shortfall of, how much money that, you didn't quite get back. So we're going to roll it. I repeat, we're going to roll it into your new car loan. And before you know it, you're financing that Hyundai Sonata for what it would have cost you to get a Mercedes-Benz.
That's the truth. You're upside down. You're never going to get out of it.
So contact a realtor. Tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. Give it to me straight so I can make an informed decision. And I'm going to share something else with you. I don't know if I should be saying this. My agents are going to be going, don't tell them that.
No,
if you tell a realtor when you get to town you're not planning on buying for 2 more years, they're probably not going to help you as much as if they thought you were going to buy something a little sooner. So do yourself a favor. If you're talking with an agent, no matter what area you're going to, listen, first off, I understand you want to be truthful and you want to be upfront. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. But are there compensating circumstances that if you found the right property in the right neighborhood and you got it for the right price, would that allow you the opportunity to be able to make that decision a little sooner? So I understand you don't want to be sold anything or pushed into anything. So what I want you to tell the agent when you're interviewing them is that you have time. You're ready to make a decision quickly, but you don't have to. You're fine with waiting because you want the right property. If you want somebody to give you the service and to go out of their way to find property, you gotta, be ready to make a move a little bit sooner if the right circumstance come along.
I agree.
So,
and I can't tell you.
I mean, don't lead them on, though. These guys do work on commission. Don't lead them around and have you take them all over town if you truly have zero desire to buy for 3 years. If that's the case, just drive around on your own. But when it comes down to it, that you're ready to make a decision, gosh, my God, hire a realtor. They're gonna do all that work that you may not be able to do, even if you wanted to. That's exactly right.
Well, and I can't tell you how many times I've never been a realtor, nor do I plan on being one, but as a mortgage person, how many times I've talked to someone who said, Michael, I'm looking at properties, and you're telling me if I have this credit score, and I retire on this income, but remember, I'm not coming for a couple of years. And then if they're with the right agent, and I don't mean high pressure, but the right agent that says, but if we in fact found you something that was perfect today, under the right circumstances, would you buy? They go, yeah. Of course.
Sure.
Let's face it, rates are in the threes today.
That's right.
The market has slowed down.
I thought it crested at 4, still in the threes.
Yeah, it's still in the threes, and that's a 30-year. There's still some 15 years out there with small points in the twos that hasn't been available in a long, long time. But again,
do you folks remember back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, it was in the teens?
Yeah, well, yeah, mid-80s.
It was mid-80s? I thought it was late 80s.
It was 18, which is the cap of the state of Florida.
I got in 1993, but I'll tell you, I remember when rates were when I got in, they were about 8.5%, 9%, and gee whiz, now, when people saw rates were going to go to 4%, they,
you go 4.5%, then young people start getting nervous.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, and we were discussing, who was I discussing this with? I don't remember who I was discussing with, but a lot of people don't realize this. Ultra low rates makes your agents happy, makes my loan officers happy, but are not necessarily good for the country. Because when seniors, whether that be 50, 60, 70, or 80, are getting such low rate of return on their CDs, money markets, and annuities, they start looking for other things that will be more risky. The truth of the matter, this country does best when rates are around 5%.
Do you know, you're right, but here's what I'm going to say to you, too. Do you know that more, I'm going to talk about one company in particular. It's a company called Home Partners of America. This is a real estate investment trust. These guys represent annuities and hedge funds that, quite frank, they just got tired of putting their money into areas with 1% and 2% return. So now what these guys do is they're buying real estate and they're building an investment portfolio under the REIT. So if national companies are seeing fit to put their money into real estate, why aren't you? Exactly. If you've got equity inside your home, the equity in your home is doing nothing. What if you can, and now listen, I don't know where you guys are located, and I don't actively sell anymore. I support my realtors, and we're growing nationally, but I want to educate you. If you're looking to invest your money, think about pulling some cash out of out of your primary residence if you own it, and purchasing your first investment property. Now, I know what you think. What if the market goes bad? The market is only a problem if you're trying to sell your house in a bad market. If you keep your house, then you float the market, you collect your rents, and you're very happy, right? So here's the other thing. A lot of times you're pulling cash out of your primary, and Michael, what they get concerned with is they say, well, now my primary residence is attacked with a lien. It's got a lien on it now for this investment property. But follow my thinking. No one's got a crystal ball, so I'm not making any guarantees about where the market's going. But in some areas of Tampa Bay, we've seen 7, 8, 9, 10% increase from last year to this year. If history repeats and you're fortunate enough to be in that type of situation, then here's what I propose. We are in an election year, 2020. you know rates, or at least my crystal ball says, and of course I don't have one, says that rates will stay good in 2020.
Yes.
I think rates will stay good in 2021. I think in 2022, we don't know.
Yeah.
We think it's probably going to raise a little. I think the market will dip a little. Hopefully we won't see as major of a correction as we did.
I hope not.
Into Me Too.
That was some
my
correction.
God, that was a major correction. That was a trip, fall down, and get run over and backed up over.
And back right back over us.
But once your investment property develops some equity, pull the equity out of the investment property and then take that equity and pay back the loan on your primary residence. So you're freeing up your primary resident, and then you're using your investment property and its gains in equity to be able to take that money and purchase more properties and build your portfolio. Did you know, I mean, guys, if you did this, think about it here. So if you're 62 years old, right, and you did a 15-year mortgage for them, okay?
Low threes.
Low threes, maybe the twos. He said, you heard him say the twos.
Yeah, no, maybe the twos.
So low threes, and now check this out. They make an extra 2 payments a year because they're pulling in the rent. You use one of our realtors, so we got you a screaming deal.
Yeah.
Hoping anyway. So here's the thing. Now they make 2 extra payments a year, reasonably speaking. 10, 11 years?
Oh, easy.
Paid off?
1 payment would probably bring it down to 11 years.
2 payments a year, which if we give you enough cash flow on that monthly rent, you get enough cash flow on that monthly rent. Instead of taking the cash flow and put it in your pocket, take that, put it towards your mortgage, make that 2 extra payments. In 10 years, you own the property outright.
That's right.
What if you were collecting $1,200, actually $1,200 is low for rent,
now, yeah.
$1,500 a month? Well, in 10 years, that's going to be about $2,000 to $2,300 a month, free and clear. You get 2, maybe 3 of those properties. Forget about who's going into election and who's going to take care of you and where the funds are going to come from for you to be able. Build your investment portfolio. Shoot. Come and I'll teach you how to do it. And I'll get one of my agents to take you out and show you the right property. But that's really what they can accomplish. I mean, my gosh, why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, let's use 2009, 10, and 11 as an example there. There has never been worse depreciation since 1929. Sure. But for those people that were able to last, because like you said, what's the difference if you're not selling?
True.
They've made their comeback now, and it's worth more. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely
Land
right.
comes back. There's no way to get around
it. Absolutely
Was it Will
does.
Rogers said, buy land, they're not making any more of it? Was it Will?
True.
I think it was Will Rogers.
I think you're right.
I'm not sure. But, that so many people don't look at that. They think that, and you just gave a perfect example, quite frankly, for Mr. and Mrs. Joe America, not the millionaires of the world that are buying 20 or 30 at a time. You can accumulate 2 or 3 properties in over 5 to 8 years, pay down your property. And I am going to do a shameless plug simply because several times I've done, because many times people go, wait a minute, what if the renter moves out? What if the renter, loses their job? Well, the truth of the matter is now I have my mortgage payment on my house. Then I got even more money out of my house to buy the rental property. So my mortgage payment on my residence is higher, and now I got a rental house, that somebody moved out. It's going to take me a while to get a new tenant. I can't tell you how many times we've done a reverse mortgage on their primary residence, taken money out.
I love it.
Now they have no payment on their primary residence.
That's amazing.
And then they take that down payment and use it to have positive cash flow. So there's just so many things you can do. But it does start with a professional real estate agent and a professional mortgage person and people like us working with their financial planner. People aren't doing that enough. Now it is a team. People don't realize that, but it's a team to get you from 62 to 90.
You got to involve your CPA, your accountant, my gosh, and make sure that you're making all the right decisions so that you're maximizing what your outcome is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so, we were laughing on the way here, even though we came in separate cars, that we could fill a telethon if you and I really want to. We could do a Jerry Lewis 24-hour thing.
I love Jerry Lewis. Did you guys love Jerry? I used to watch that as a kid.
I got all teary when he died.
Oh,
yeah, that telethon,
great,
going around collecting for
awesome.
UNICEF.
Yep.
Jerry. I mean, to me, it's still Jerry's kids. And what has it been, 6 years?
I thought it was longer than that.
Maybe longer. They're always going to be Jerry's kids. But we only have about 10, 12 minutes left. Then we're going to talk about next week's show. And now it is time, because I've said this before, as a career mortgage person, I get business from Remax. I get business from Keller Williams, Exit Realty, Century 21. I mean, there's a lot of great companies.
There are great companies.
Yeah, Keller Williams, and you've been part of a couple of them and helped them grow nationally. But you did something kind of special in the last year and a half to 2 years. Something that I haven't seen. I think I've mentioned it when we're speaking together. I was here, and when Remax came to Florida, it was incredible. Oh my God, 100% commission, and you pay rent like a real business person.
It's true.
And then I was here when a big block of them left, and Keller Williams suddenly was a household name. And there's just so many great companies, and many of them start in Florida because this is where real estate always goes up most of the time. Always, most of the time. That doesn't make sense at all.
Most of the time.
I should run for office. It always does that. Most of the time. That's not good. Maybe that's not why I'm not on a major news network. But always, most of the time. But
great for politics, though.
I'm not running for office. Yeah. All fake news. No, we won't go there. Let's talk about Align Right, because I've said this in public. I've said this in front of a couple of hundred people. What you have created with Align Right is a very, very different model. You're changing the rules.
Thank you.
You're not doing anything outlandish where people go, what? But they are looking and going, what did he say? And that's why you've gone from no agents 2 years ago to what, 280?
A little over 300.
Little over 300. And three new franchises. But who's counting? He's counting.
I'm counting.
And just sold 3 more franchises.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit of what makes Align Right unique, because I think it's incredible.
There's a lot of different real estate companies out there that clients can choose. And for us, we take this business very serious, and we take it to another level. What do I mean by that? We feel that if we have a happy place for our agents to work, a place where they're feeling supported and nurtured and almost like part of a family, and like a good family would nurture one another, we feel that the agents who are happier, they perform better and they work better. And I teach agents, I say, listen, if this is just a transaction, if you're just looking to make money, go to work with one of the other firms. There's plenty of them out there, but that's not who we are. Align Right Realty was created to be able to change people's lives. So when I take on an agent with our firm and I take on a new broker franchisee, I take them on as almost one of my children. They're part of my family. And I tell them to take that job of what they're doing very serious, because I take it serious with what I'm pushing and molding them into. So I think as a consumer out there, you want a realtor who's knowledgeable about the industry. You also want someone who has the proper research to find out if there's a great deal to be had out there, to be able to advise you on price and terms. And my gosh, do you know, people go into new home builders today and they pay what the builder asks in price. Listen, we don't ever pay list price. We go in, everything's a negotiation. So with our agents, we believe that getting to the core, and people buy why we do something, not what we do. And well, the reason why we do what we do is because it's changing people's lives. People, their house is their castle. I mean, that's the most important place, right? And we take it pretty serious. We also hope that when a career change is prevalent inside the household, we're hoping that maybe that consumer, that homeowner, had such a positive experience with our agent that they said, you know what? I think I want to become a realtor. I tell our agents, I say the greatest gift or the greatest compliment you can ever receive is when your client says, I want to do this too. Because there are a lot of pitfalls. I always say agents are like pilots, right? Sometimes you hit some rough air, right? You get a little turbulence and you kind of grab hold of the seat and you go, oh, okay. Well, a good realtor never lets you see the behind-the-scenes turbulence. So when you say, hey, I want to be a realtor, that was such a great transaction, the worst compliment would be, I want to be a realtor, that was the worst transaction.
I can do it better than that,
You don't want that. So, from that point, I encourage you, if you want a professional that's going to believe in you and want to do and give you exactly what you want, you've got to reach out to Align Right Realty. But I'm going to tell you, if you're thinking about a change in careers, you want to get out of the house, or maybe you just want to make an extra 10 or 20 grand or 100 or 500 grand a year, You can do it in this business. You can make your own hours, and it's you in the driver's seat. You make as much as you want or as little as you want. But I will tell you, it's easier for me to coach you to make 100,000 than it is for you to make 10 grand. It's easier to make the 100, believe it or not, right? Because objects in motion stay in motion. So it's easier, believe it or not, to do that. So, when we opened up Align Right Realty, we found there were two types of brokerages, Michael. We saw, companies like the Remaxes, that they were 100% concepts. Right. You had to pay a lot of money to work there. And then we saw that there were traditional split companies. You hang your license there, and the company takes a large percentage of your money. And what we found is that 100% companies didn't provide much of anything to the agent, where the split companies had a lot they provided for the agent. So many agents would start working at the split company and then jump over to the 100%. But not everybody would make it. So what we did is we wanted to create a hybrid real estate model. We wanted to come up with something that we said, how can we look, smell, service, support like a split company, like your traditionals, but how can we pay out like 100% concept? And that's when the hybrid model was born, Align Right Realty. So that's what we're doing. We got approved by the Federal Trade Commission. We're now approved in 28 states to sell Align Right Realty offices. We've sold and closed on 4 franchises here in Tampa in 4 months. So we're pretty new at being a national franchise. I've worked for some of the largest national franchises in the United States, actually worldwide. So I'm the guy that they always hired in to grow and restructure offices and rebuild them to #1 in the marketplace. So I did it for other firms. Now I'm doing it for myself and for you. So pretty exciting stuff.
It is. And again, I know I have friends that watch the TV show that work for other agencies. And,
Sure.
And I mean no disrespect towards them, but you had
There's a lot of good companies out there. I don't bash anyone.
You never do.
When people ask me why I left the previous companies, I have the same thing I say. I said my roots just outgrew the pot that I was growing in.
Yeah. Well, you're the only broker I've ever seen, and I've known a lot of great brokers, that you get calls sometimes from people that don't work for you.
Yep.
That you help them with problems because they've known you from the past. Oh, yeah, very regularly.
I get calls from attorneys.
Yeah.
I go, but
Johnny,
you're an
can you help
attorney.
me with FREC? Johnny, can you help me with this?
Right.
They don't even work for you, but they know you're going to do that.
But you know what, though, Michael? There's if you're putting people first and you lead with your heart. Now you got to be smart about it, obviously. Yeah. But my philosophy is if you call me and you need my help, I may not be working with you on that transaction or with you as a broker versus agent. I may not be. But if I give you the help that you needed when I didn't have to, that goes a long way.
That's life.
That's just good business.
Yeah, it's not just good business, it's good life, and you live it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples, and I still tell people about it was only a month ago, is the meeting that you had about 50, 60 people, and I think you asked everybody to stand up and say, how they were doing, why they enjoy selling real estate, and how Align Right has changed their life. Now, that's an unusual question at a realtor meeting, let's face it.
Sure.
And I'd say, halfway through it, there was a lot of people in the room with tears coming out of their eyes.
Very much so.
And I'm standing in the back of the room.
It's a life changer. It really is.
It is. And I'm standing in the back room because you always have, standing room only, so I'm not going to hog a seat. I was standing in the back with some of the other sponsors, and we were in a hotel. And people were walking by, looking in, and I'm not going to mention names, but there was, a lot of realtors, men and women, going, and since I joined you, Johnny, and my life, and I mean, it was so touching, and I'm going, I don't
Did you see the last event? We actually had hotel guests that came into the room. I said, hi, are you a new agent with our company? And they said, no, we were walking by, and it seemed so awesome, we had to come in.
Well, when I went to the front desk, because I had to take care of some business there was actually a couple that came, a young couple with kids. They were making a lot of noise. We had to close the door, but I went to the desk, and they actually said to the couple, is that some sort of like a funeral home or something in there that's having a meeting? They were all crying. And she went, no, it's a real estate company. But I've attended a lot of meetings on my 37 years.
They get emotional.
Yeah, well, we all do. Well, you create that. There's all sorts of cliches, for that. The speed of the crowd is the speed of the leader. There's all sorts of cliches. You can't fly like an eagle. You can't soar like an eagle. if you surround yourself with turkeys. And
That's
you
true.
don't surround yourself with turkeys. You have
You
a
don't
care-
become a great sailor in smooth seas either.
No, that's exactly. Oh, I like that. I do like that. No, but you've put together a very unique concept, not just financially, but people-wise.
We got a great group, you know.
Yeah.
We got a caring group. People
Yeah.
look out for each other.
They do.
You know, every month we do a family fun night. We invite the agents to come in. You know, you've been to many of
Golf,
them.
bowling, oh my God.
And we invite the agents to come in with their significant other or spouse and their children. If they have somebody visiting the house, we tell them to come on in. And, you know, I'll get a text message. Oh, I got my Aunt Susie and Uncle Joe. I almost said Aunt Joe, but today it could be Aunt Joe. You never know.
Yeah.
And they say, can I bring them? And I said, my gosh, this is family fun night. They're part of your family. Of course, you should bring
Look, your
them.
Halloween party, the children
God,
running
that was
around
so
going
amazing.
crazy. And, it is very different. And let's face it, in today's world, even though I don't suggest
Culture is
it,
everything.
Yeah, it's not just that, but I mean, the younger, you literally can go and get a virtual tour of a house without meeting a realtor. You
so
can get a
impersonal.
mortgage person on a website without ever talking to a Mike Banner.
What fun would that be?
Well, yeah, well, it wouldn't be. But you're never sure that you're getting the best deal
That's right.
at the best of everything. But because of technology, the world has changed. And there are a lot of agents out there, if I alienate some of them, well, that's just life, they list their properties, and then they wait for somebody to sell them. God
Yep.
forbid they get a phone call and have to do something.
It's true.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I sort of do.
You know what you
It's
should
rough.
do? You know what they need to do? Guys, if you're hiring a realtor to list your home and sell your home, make the realtor take out the cancellation fee. There's a cancellation fee typically in a lot of listing contracts. Make them take it out and tell that agent, if you don't perform, I want to be able to fire you. I think you should.
I think
Fire him.
Yeah. Here's a guy with 300 real estate agents telling you to take out the cancellation. So what do you see changing?
We don't want to
about,
get your business. We want to earn your business. There's a difference.
There's no doubt about it. What do you see with only a few minutes remaining? Let's go away from everything for a while. Technology is changing.
Sure.
Now I actually, in the mortgage company, you have a very high credit score, a loan to value, which in layman terms is putting down a large down payment. We're waiving appraisals. Not that I think that's bright on a long-term thing.
That scares
but there
me
are
a
now
little.
deals where you're waiving appraisals. There is talk that appraisals will become obsolete because it's a computer system for 3 comps. I hope that never happens because then we're
I
going to go
don't
back
see
into
how.
fraud. And you really, without that human effort, how do you know that this house here is nicer than this house inside?
It's true.
There is talk about eliminating title companies in the next 10 years because a title search is a search is a search. But
it's funny, we talk about technology, and I was listening to somebody talk about a new piece of technology, and I said, how accurate is the technology? How accurate? And he said, 80 at the worst, but probably more like 85, 90. He said, that's great. It's great if you're part of the 85 or the 90, but if you're part of the 10 or the 15, it sucks.
Well, let's take it one step further. If we had 15% false information in the mortgage world, there would be a recession that makes 2009
People lie
and
on their mortgage?
Yeah.
That happens?
It happens.
my God,
No, it would
that's
make
so shocking.
1929 look like you can't have 15% error.
gosh.
And,
No, you can't.
I think the day, hopefully you and I will be long retired, where the realtor or mortgage person is going to play a very different role than you and I do now. But I don't think it's tomorrow. I don't even think it's in the next decade. But it's coming. We'll be gone by then. I don't mean gone like in another world, but gone, hopefully retired and just not doing this. But it's going to change. It has to. It's already changed. I mean, I remember, let's face it, when I was a kid, if you told me to name a real estate agency when I was a kid, I would have to say Century 21.
That would have been
the
the only
gold jacket. I mean, I remember that as much as like
And the balloon. That's what I remembered.
Well, the balloon came in the 70s or 80s?
80s.
80s?
Actually, late 80s.
Yeah, now Century 21 doesn't use the gold jacket anymore, do they?
No.
Yeah, that to me is like iconic. I mean, it really was.
A lot of you guys don't remember that, but they used to have the gold jackets.
Yeah,
and when
everybody.
You were $1 million producer, you got the gold
The
jacket.
gold jacket.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but
but-
you didn't get it. You had to pay for it.
Yeah, they definitely didn't get it. No, I think our worlds are changing.
No, I agree, but I'll tell you, I think people still like that human touch, that personal involvement, somebody who they can bounce ideas off of. And I don't know about you guys, but I got to tell you, one of the most frustrating things to me is when I buy something and I can't pick up the phone and call somebody to complain. Sometimes I just want somebody to listen to me, to unload, and then say, no problem, Mr. Lowey. Thank you so much. We apologize that you've been inconvenienced, but we're going to try to fix it. I'd rather hear that than see it in an email. Though, I will tell you, you know my wife. My wife would probably rather have an email.
I'm worried about the younger generation. I'm worried about them in so many ways. I mean, they're a great generation. They're intelligent. They're so into the technology that it's staggering.
Sure.
The Facebook generation, which just staggers me sometimes. We won't get into that with 2 minutes.
Oh my
to
God!
Go.
Do you want to
But
watch?
I am
something
worried
funny?
about them.
Watch my father try to work a computer.
My
What
dad.
does this mean? It keeps popping up an error.
Yeah. No, it's like
I got my hammer.
It's like the lady keeps running to her mailbox like every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes she runs out to her mailbox. She's like 80 years old. So neighbor comes up and goes, "You okay? You've been out to the mailbox like 50 times in the last hour." He goes, "I don't know. My son bought me this computer. Every time I turn it on, it says you got mail." So no, I am worried about. There's only a minute and a half left. The younger generation doesn't want the human contact. That's what I'm worried about.
No,
the texting,
I get it.
Facebook. They don't even know what it is. They don't know how to talk to people. I'm sorry.
true.
I'm not being insulting, but I sort of am.
Do you know what's funny is I've sat and I've watched kids at a table communicate with each other via text. And then my wife and I go out to dinner and I want to tell her something about the guy at the table next to us. So I pull out my phone and I start texting my wife. She goes, "I'm right here." I'm like,
Yeah, I don't want to go. No, the personal part of almost everything. I mean, now we have, we buy cars online, we buy houses. It's rough.
But could it be that people who are gearing towards technology and cutting out the human interaction, could it be that they had a miserable experience or a bad experience? And that's why they kind of, but what if you had a great experience? There's a real estate brokerage I ran into. They said, we're not going to do any brick and mortar offices. We just feel that agents don't want to go to a brick and mortar office. And I said, gee whiz, but if you have a nice office, one that's a positive environment, makes you feel good when you're there, and there's teamwork and support, and you love being there. I said, it sounds to me like you guys just worked in a crappy office.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I think if you're getting the right help and the right customer service, I think that's not going to be an issue. I think, but we as professionals, we got to step up our game. What do you think?
Right. Well, we got 10 seconds left. As always, thank you.
Thanks,
love you too. Thank you, everybody out there. We're going to have a few great shows before New Year's. Have a wonderful holiday season, but we'll see you a week from today. Take care.